The story I'm about to share begins with a deceptively warm and inviting scene, but as you'll soon discover, appearances can be deceiving. It was a bitter December night, the kind that freezes your breath in the air and chills you to the bone. I had just moved into a quaint, centuries-old cottage nestled in a remote village, hoping for a peaceful Christmas. The village, blanketed in snow, had an enchanting aura, like a scene from a holiday postcard. But my excitement waned as the sun dipped below the horizon and the stars emerged, painting the sky with an eerie glow. On Christmas Eve, the village transformed into a wonderland, with decorations adorning every home. Strings of twinkling lights cast an otherworldly glow, and carolers sang merrily in the frosty air. Despite the festive facade, an unsettling tension hung in the atmosphere. As I sat by the crackling fire, my host, an elderly woman named Agnes, leaned closer and whispered, "Have you heard the tale of the bell ringer's curse?" Her eyes gleamed with a sinister curiosity. Intrigued, I urged her to continue. Agnes's voice dropped to a hushed tone as she told me about a man named Elijah, who had lived in the village long ago. Elijah was the local bell ringer, responsible for the village church's ancient bell tower. Legend had it that he had made a deal with the devil, trading his soul for a talent that allowed him to play enchanting melodies on the bells. The townspeople were captivated by his performances, but they had no idea of the dark price he'd paid. Every Christmas Eve, Agnes continued, Elijah would ring the bells with unparalleled skill. It was said that his music could lure even the most stubborn of souls to the church. But in exchange, he would take one life from the village every year. The room grew colder as Agnes spoke, and I could feel the weight of her words settling in the air. "The curse continues to this day," she said, her eyes fixed on me, "and the village must choose a sacrifice each year to appease the vengeful spirit of Elijah. If they fail, terrible misfortune will befall the entire village." I shivered, both from the chilling tale and the icy draft that seemed to seep into the room. My curiosity was piqued, and I asked what would happen if the villagers didn't make the sacrifice. Agnes leaned in closer, her voice barely more than a whisper. "The village would be plunged into darkness. Crops would wither, livestock would sicken, and the land would become barren. The curse of Elijah would bring misery upon us all." As the clock struck midnight, a sense of dread settled upon me. Agnes abruptly rose from her chair and declared, "It's time for you to make a choice." I followed her to the village square, where a hushed crowd had gathered around the towering Christmas tree. A young woman, trembling with fear, stood at the center of the congregation, her eyes wide with terror. The villagers murmured, their expressions filled with sorrow and resignation. The bell tower loomed above us, its ancient bells gleaming in the moonlight. Agnes handed me a small silver bell and whispered, "Ring it, and the curse will be transferred to you." My heart pounded as I raised the bell, but before I could make a decision, the woman at the center of the square took a step back and said, "I'll do it. I'll be the sacrifice." The villagers nodded in somber approval. As the bells began to chime, her figure became ethereal, and her cries were swallowed by the dark night. The ominous melody rang out, echoing through the village, and I watched in horror as she vanished into thin air. The bells stopped, and an eerie silence fell upon the village. The villagers dispersed, their faces etched with a combination of sadness and relief. Agnes turned to me, her eyes glittering with a wicked glint, and said, "You've been spared, for now. But remember, the curse always hungers for a new victim." The night pressed on, and I couldn't shake the lingering unease that had settled deep within me. Agnes had warned me that the curse always hungered for a new victim, and the events of that fateful Christmas Eve had left a chilling mark on my soul. With each passing hour, the village seemed to grow colder, the frosty air thick with an unspoken dread. I decided to venture out into the village, hoping to uncover more about the bell ringer's curse. The old cobblestone streets, usually bustling with life, now lay empty and desolate. I wandered towards the church, drawn by an inexplicable force, and its towering bell tower stood like a sentinel in the moonlight. As I reached the steps of the church, a voice called out from the shadows. "You shouldn't be here," it whispered, and a figure emerged, hidden beneath a heavy cloak. I could barely see their face, but their eyes shone with an eerie intensity. "Who are you?" I asked, my heart racing. The stranger replied, "I am Isabella, and I've been watching you. You have a curiosity that could either save this village or doom it further." Isabella's words sent a shiver down my spine, and I asked her what she meant. She began to recount a tale even darker than the one Agnes had shared, one that had been whispered through the generations. Long ago, the villagers had grown weary of the bell-ringer's curse and the sacrifices it demanded. They sought to end it, and they came up with a plan to break the curse's hold. A secret society was formed, dedicated to finding a way to release the souls trapped by the curse and free the village from its grip. The society discovered an ancient, forbidden ritual, a dark incantation to sever the connection between the cursed souls and the bell tower. It was a dangerous and desperate attempt, but they had no other choice. The night they performed the ritual was etched in infamy, a night of blood, darkness, and terror. Isabella's voice trembled as she told me how the ritual had gone horribly wrong. Instead of breaking the curse, it had unleashed a malevolent force that now roamed the village, seeking vengeance. The curse had evolved, becoming even more insatiable, requiring a fresh soul every year. The society's members had all been consumed by the darkness they had unleashed, and their descendants had vowed to keep the secret, lest the curse be unleashed even further. "Only the chosen one can break the curse," Isabella said, her voice filled with desperation. "You must learn the secrets of the society, unravel the dark incantation, and confront the vengeful spirit of Elijah. The village's salvation lies with you." The weight of Isabella's revelation bore down upon me, and I realized that I had been unwittingly thrust into a battle between dark forces and the hopes of an entire village. I knew I had to uncover the secrets of the society and confront the malevolent spirit, but it wouldn't be easy. Over the next few days, Isabella became my guide, revealing hidden texts and ancient documents that held clues to the ritual. We met in secret, deep within the catacombs beneath the church, where the society had once conducted their ill-fated ceremony. The walls were adorned with eerie symbols, and the air was thick with the presence of long-forgotten souls. Together, we deciphered the incantation, a cryptic blend of Latin and forbidden words. It was a dark and unsettling text, but it held the key to breaking the curse. Isabella warned me that performing the ritual would be dangerous and that I must confront the vengeful spirit of Elijah. On the eve of the next Christmas, I stood before the bell tower, ready to carry out the ritual that might free the village from the bell-ringer's curse. The wind howled, and the moon cast an ominous glow upon the old church. As the clock struck midnight, I began to recite the incantation, my voice trembling with fear and determination. The bells of the tower responded with a haunting chime, and the air grew heavy with a malevolent presence. A sinister figure emerged from the shadows, a ghostly figure with hollow eyes and a malevolent aura. It was Elijah, the accursed bell-ringer. Elijah's voice was a chilling whisper as he spoke, "You dare to challenge the curse that has bound me for centuries? You cannot break the chains that I have forged." But I pressed on, reciting the incantation with unwavering resolve. The curse fought back, with the very stones of the tower shaking and the bells ringing out in discord. The village seemed to hold its breath as the battle between light and darkness raged on. As the final words of the incantation left my lips, a blinding flash of light engulfed the bell tower. The world seemed to stand still for a moment, and then, with a deafening crash, the tower crumbled to the ground. Elijah's vengeful spirit was sealed within the ruins, and the curse was finally broken. The villagers emerged from their homes, their faces filled with a mixture of disbelief and hope. The curse that had haunted their lives for generations was no more. They had been spared from the annual sacrifice, and the darkness that had hung over the village was lifted. But as I gazed upon the ruins of the bell tower, a deep sense of emptiness gnawed at me. The price of breaking the curse had been steep, and I couldn't help but wonder what new horrors might be unleashed by the malevolent spirit, now trapped beneath the rubble. The village celebrated its newfound freedom that Christmas, but I knew that the secrets of the bellringer's curse would forever haunt me. The sacrifice and the dark incantation would forever be etched in my memory, and the mystery of that fateful night would continue to send shivers down my spine. As the years passed, the village prospered, and the curse was but a distant memory. Yet, I couldn't escape the feeling that the darkness was never truly vanquished, waiting for the opportune moment to strike once more. The chilling shock of that Christmas Eve would forever linger, a haunting reminder that the past could never truly be buried.